2023, located here at the Tyngsborough High School PDC. My name is Anthony Tenorella. I officially call this meeting to order. I will remind everyone that these meetings are audio and video recorded, and we will start with introductions to my left.
Barry Teague, student representative.
Becca Stanton.
Mike Woodlock, Assistant Superintendent.
Hi, Mike Flanagan, Superintendent.
Daniela Thanis.
Ryan McMahon.
Dustine Puma.
Good evening, Joe Messina, Business Administrator.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the August 22nd, 2023 Superintendent Evaluation Subcommittee minutes and the August 22nd, 2023 School Committee minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstained? Dustin. Thank you.
401.
401, yeah. Citizen time? Seeing none. Correspondence?
Yes, Mr. Chair, in your drive tonight, there is an email from our representative at the MSBA, just confirming for the community that we are in fact one of the communities that are eligible for potentially additional funding that would come along as a result of the unforeseen escalation costs with the MSBA project. As you know, legislation passed a FY24 budget, which has an additional $100 million set aside for projects that face this escalation. We did get confirmation that we weren't one of those schools, and I will say that the other night, Senator Kennedy did announce that we are potentially going to receive about $4 million in offset money or additional funding for the middle school building project. So all good news on that front.
And thank you to Senator Kennedy for pushing that through. No personnel at this time. Share the success. Barry.
All right, so what a great start to the school year. For the elementary school, it is great to have students back, bringing life back to the classroom. A huge shout out to our rock star educators for creating warm, welcoming, and engaging classrooms that support our learners. Students are quickly learning routines, while teachers are focusing on building strong connections. The excitement and energy were felt throughout the building. 2023 to 24 promises to be a great year. Save the date. We will hold our annual preschool grade 5 open on Thursday, September 21st. TES students look forward to sharing an update at the October 3rd school committee meeting. At the middle school, we had a productive first day with teachers, and they were ready for students after some professional development, team planning, and getting their rooms ready. We are off and running with a new year with upbeat kids and smiling faces. We have started to establish a little bit more of a routine, but spend most of our time getting to know everyone. Each Friday, students will be sending home and to their advisors an email out overviewing their week and outlining the upcoming week. Also, students will be letting their homes know what they have to catch up on so that they can help them with anything they need. They will be using this following template to keep you in the loop. For example, this week I am proud of blank. For the next week, I have blank coming up, and they'll just be filling up these templates. We had a great groundbreaking ceremony last Wednesday. Local officials, school staff, and community members were all present for the celebration of our new school's construction. At the high school, it's been a great first week back. There was an instant energy and enthusiasm with the return of the students. Thanks to the senior sidekicks for hosting the freshman orientation, over 80 members of the class of 2027 attended. More information will be shared today about the high school later in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Great job. Subcommittees, none at this time. Unfinished business.
All right, Mr. Chair, we'll jump right into the slide deck. So the first slide that we'll go to is the upcoming meeting schedule. As you know, next Wednesday it's a big school building committee meeting. We'll know at that point, bids for 95% of the project will be coming in this Friday. So at that meeting, we'll have a better sense of what the final cost will be, and hopefully we'll have some resolution with the Drake water issue at that point, and can kind of get a more clear understanding what the picture is going to be and next steps forward. That meeting will kind of lead the way into the September 27th joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen, where we'll make a recommendation on what we think as a school building committee should be the ballot the warrant article at town meeting. So those are the upcoming meetings. What we'll jump into next is, so last Wednesday night, you heard about it, we had a great groundbreaking ceremony. I do want to thank Evie, Olivia, Chris, Will, Ava, and Emerson for coming out and helping us, and they were great. They were funny throwing the dirt, though they were asked not to by some people, but they had a great time at the groundbreaking ceremony. I want to recognize and thank the MSBA for coming out. Actually, Wood, if you want to go to the next slide as well. The MSBA for coming out, Mary Piketty, the executive director. Certainly thanks to Senator Kennedy and Representative Gary for their support and advocacy throughout this project. And of course, Mr. Eldridge spoke on behalf of the select board. Ms. Winterstrom was the co-chair of the committee and certainly the school committee. So I didn't blow the pictures up too big because I don't know how people feel about their pictures being out there, but these pictures right here represent the full school building committee on the large one. The top right is the school committee, and the bottom right, excuse me, are the featured speakers from the night. So it was a great program, and I appreciate everyone coming out and the support of the community so far on this project. The last part of the MSBA update, I usually have pictures of the building, but you were all there and saw it last week. We did have a Module 7 construction meeting on last Thursday with the MSBA. Essentially, as we think about this entire process, every step we take is a new module. Well, there are only 8 modules, and we just started Module 7, which is construction. Module 8 is closing out the project. So it was great to meet with the MSBA at this meeting. They will be taking a more active role in our weekly OAC meetings. That's the owner, architect, and contractor meetings. So they will want to start seeing weekly reports and really understanding the construction process as it goes forward here. They also took time to talk about, the OPM reports are going to be required, and change order processes and programs and logs are going to be required. So I will say that David Sandin from left field was on the call and is well-versed in all of this. So we are in outstanding hands. So JCJ participated, as well as every member of Fontaine Brothers who was on site. So they are quite familiar with the process. I kind of sat there with my eyes wide open, not really knowing a lot of the lingo, but David reassured me at the end of the meeting, like, we got this. So that's good to know. September 8th, as I mentioned earlier, September 8th is a big day. That's when we're going to see 95% of the project bids come in, and it'll be, hopefully that they're coming in at least on budget, preferably under budget. And I will say one of the takeaways that I did hear at our MSBA meeting last week was they are starting to see a flattening in the industry at this point. So hopefully no more unprecedented escalation, and we are in good shape. So that's the MSBA at this time. Update this time. You see the work on the gym continues to progress, and the elevator block work is almost complete at this point. Steel will be arriving in 2 weeks, and we kind of go from there. So it's moving quite along, right at a nice pace. So we're in good shape. That's all I have on the MSBA.
All right, thank you. 8B is the approval of the superintendent goals for 23-24. I know everybody had a copy of those goals sent to them. I haven't received any comment from anyone, so at this time, I'm looking for a motion to approve Dr. Flanagan's goals for 2023 as presented.
I would like to make that motion as presented.
Second.
Any further conversation? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Teaching and learning. Mr. Woodlock.
Hey, okay, so as you read, Mr. Flanagan has some pretty lofty goals, and as you can imagine, those may include my services at some point. So a lot of times when people find out what I do, they kind of ask me, like, well, what does that mean? What do you do? And it's not an easy question to answer sometimes, but as district administrators, we have a lot of meetings, and I've been involved in a lot of meetings over the course of many years in education that probably didn't need to happen, as you guys probably have too in your particular fields. But with our goals that are pretty lofty, and some of the ones that I touched upon, they do mirror some of Dr. Flanagan's goals, but revising and updating our SDI and keeping on track with meeting our goals and outcomes for that, increasing accountability and communication amongst not only our district administrators, but through our building administrators and then down through all of our teachers and staff. Growing as instructional leaders in our own right, but also helping our administrators and our buildings grow as instructional leaders. and prioritizing the professional growth of all of our staff. Those are some of the big ticket items that I'm responsible, but not just me, all of us in central office. So just to give you an idea of what some of those things look like, this is our fall meeting schedule that we just approved with our building admin and district admin for the fall. And we have a similar one for the spring. It's not a mirror image, but a lot of the same things. And so just to give you an idea really briefly about what some of these are and what they mean, we have AC meetings, which is our, what does it stand for?
Administrative Council.
Thank you, Administrative Council, which includes all of our district administrators, plus our building administrators, just our principals, actually. So that's a monthly meeting, just to make sure we're checking in on our SDI work, that we're making sure that we're communicating effectively throughout the district, because sometimes people get really caught up in what they're doing, and then we fail to communicate effectively. And when you fail to communicate, things tend to go wrong. So that's a really important meeting for us. Our leadership meeting, which is listed on here just once, that's meant to meet probably 4 times a year, and that's to continue a through line from what we began to establish in our administrative retreat in the summer, when we revised and update and began to update the SDI and make sure that we're staying the course there, and that includes all of the admin in the district. You see the curriculum and instruction meetings, and those are meetings that I chair, and I meet with the content leaders throughout the district, K through 12. Building administrators often participate in those. Those happen about 6 times a year, and I'll also meet with the content leaders individually twice during the year. Additionally, our curriculum instruction, our walkthrough and debrief meetings that we've scheduled. We talked a little bit about this and the success that we had last year. So we've scheduled this 4 times throughout this year with each of our buildings, so that the district administrators are going to be going through classrooms, selected classrooms with building administrators, and then having talks about education, teaching, learning, instruction. They're not evaluative, they're for us. They're for us to get better, for us to calibrate our thoughts, what we need to communicate to our staff, and make sure that we're doing our part to be instructional leaders to support our teachers. Also listed on here is part of what we've talked about in recent meetings about our induction, or not induction really, but our inclusion into the Inclusion Instruction Academy through DESE that we were selected for. So that begins, I have a meeting on Thursday, and then it will begin kind of in earnest the following week. So those will be infused into there. So, part of the things in our SDI that we talk about are meeting the needs of all students, providing comprehensive and inclusive learning environments, and prioritizing professional growth. So these are ways in which we're able to do that without just having meetings for meeting's sake. So if there was nothing to meet about, we wouldn't meet. But these are ways to keep us all on track and make sure that with all of the technical aspects of what administrators in buildings and we do every day, we don't get caught up in that and lose the big picture.
And if I could just add, I think it's important to point this out now, that my goals will be shared with all the administrators tomorrow, and it's just important to know that that's not something that we write down in the fall, and then we revisit in the spring and say, hey, where are we, what did we do? We regularly reflect on this, and this drives the work that we do, and we come back to it regularly throughout the school year to make sure that we are focusing on teaching and learning and our strategy for district improvement, because that's what really is where the rubber hits the road here in this district. So we continually come back to it, and we always talk about getting better. So it just seemed to dovetail with my goals tonight, hence that update.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Mr. Whitlock. New business, Tyngsborough High School presentation.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Ogden and Ms. Trainor here from Tyngsborough High School. They talked to us about everything that's happened in the first 3 days of school.
We'll go a little bit.
Maybe foreshadow some things coming up this year as well.
So thank you for having us tonight. Over the last few weeks, it started with fall athletes kind of trickling back in, and then what's up there now is our freshman orientation. Barry mentioned it briefly, but over 80 freshmen and newcomers showed up for that event. The advisor for that was Jamie Gustafson, and she got the senior sidekicks there to organize it. They gave school tours. They did an informational question and answer session, and then they also did win games. So as you're aware of, last year we moved to our win block, and part of that is the enrichment activities. So the sidekicks decided to pick some of their favorites and then present them to the freshmen. It's got to give them an idea of what to expect when they are in Wynn. Obviously, it does have the additional teaching and learning piece of it, but they wanted to show them the other side of it too, to kind of connect there directly. So it was a great event overall, and we were happy that so many freshmen once again showed up for it.
Jeff, just so we have 105 freshmen, 110 freshmen,
Yes, it was still moving this past week, so.
so between 105, 110 freshmen, and 80 showed up, so that's great.
So as Jeff stated, it's great to have students and staff back in the school and have the building lively again. During the first day of school, we met with all grade levels to talk about expectations, student expectations, as well as looking forward to upcoming events this school year, to go over that. We have class officer elections tomorrow and Thursday, and the students will give their speeches who are running for class officer positions, and we'll make the announcements on who won those positions at the end of the week. And we, as you know, we have our new school resource officer is Officer Gustafson. He has been a great addition to the school committee, to the school community so far. He's been out and about, present in the halls before and after school at dismissal, as well as in the lunches. He held a little meet and greet last week during WIN to invite some students down, which was pretty popular. He did bring munchkins to bribe the kids to come down, but it was a great way for the kids to get to know him, so they're comfortable going to him if they need anything.
So one of the things we did begin to work on last year, as you know, we will be going through accreditation, which I'll give you a little update on that in a minute. But we did take a look at our core values. So the core values have been in place since I believe 2011 is when they were first developed, and that was because we were once again going through accreditation back then for a 2012 visit. So last year, as a staff, and then involving other stakeholders of students and school council, we took a good look at our core values. Do we want to keep them? Do we want to change them? So overall, they probably do look pretty similar. The biggest difference and the only change that wound up coming about is we now have incorporated integrity. So it took the place of honesty, and really the decision behind that was integrity is based on honesty, and teachers felt like honesty was included with that, but it put it that much further, that it just shows that you have good high morals all the time. So that's something that we did adopt this past year, and that will be the new sign that we are having made up right now. Second part of it, and this is definitely directed toward accreditation, is the vision of the graduate. So previously it was considered 21st century learning expectations. They've made a shift now, and it's more of the vision of the graduate. So once again, we did the same thing. We took the staff and then student input, and we believe that once a student comes through Tyngsborough High School, this is what the critical qualities and characteristics that they'll have. So to be a critical thinker, a communicator, a global citizen, a collaborator, and a self-directed learner. So those really are the qualities that we believe that once they come through, they'll have those. They are measured with school-wide rubrics still, so there will be feedback on that, and parents will be able to see that on report cards as well.
Just talk a little bit more about accreditation, who does it, what it looks like, and that kind of thing, if you don't mind.
So can you go to the next one, please? So, the New England Association of School and Colleges, they are we are accredited through. That's basically the key components of the process and how we work through that. It is different from the last time we went through it. The first part there, self-reflected reflection completed by the school, that'll be done in the fall of 2024. I'll be invited in the spring, and I'll bring probably Kate and a number of teachers as well to a seminar this spring so we get a better understanding of the process. Fortunately, Mr. Woodlock went through it just before he left Groton Dunstable, so we do have someone that does have some experience with the new process, which is definitely an advantage for us. After we do have our self-reflection in the fall of 2024, the collaborative conference will take place sometime in 2025. We don't have the date for that yet. And I believe it was presented last spring that our decennial visit will actually be in 2027. We were invited to have our visit pushed back. We went for that, and they accepted it, so.
I just have one more comment about that, and I think we have the answer right now, but historically, those who've been on the committee know, this used to be a costly budget item. that we have to plan for. And I think they've changed that format a little bit.
Yeah, so it is,
do
it
you
is
have any
supposed to
information
be,
on that?
I don't have the figure, but it is supposed to be a far less cost than it was in previous years.
I mean, it used to
Like,
be up to
built up.
$20,000 to $30,000, and you'd host a team of 10 educators, you have to put them in a hotel and the whole 9 yards, and I think that got to be exorbitant, so the districts have kind of pushed back a little bit, so NEASC has kind of streamlined it a little bit, so there will be a cost, but I can't imagine it's
Not
going
what
to
it
be
was previously.
what it was before, so we'll talk more about that when budget season comes.
And I can provide an update once I go to that seminar as well, if they give any.
Great.
Oh.
We're excited for the fall season. We have 255 athletes competing this fall. Last week, golf had their season opener, and this week, the rest of their teams will have their season opener. As always, we look forward to homecoming. The whole homecoming games will be on October 20th and 21st of this year.
And then our last slide before questions. Some of the things, so as Dr. Flanagan said, we've been here 3 days. So to give you a beginning of the year update could be a little tricky. So we do want to have some stuff later on in the FU. So we're going to bring some members of the senior class in. They can let you know how the beginning of the year is going, where they are in the college or career planning process. In February or March, around the theater program, we'd love to get them in. If we can get them in costume, it'll be even better. So I'll work with Katie Leahy on that when their program's coming up, whether it's before or right after, whatever's easier for them, because I know that's a stressful time, especially if it's deck week. And then we'll look to bring the band in April after they return from their trip, heading down to Disney to do a performance there and get some training there. So, do you have any questions?
Awesome. I'll open up to the committee.
A couple of comments and a question. First, on the freshman orientation, my daughter attended, absolutely loved it. I ran into a fellow parent at the block party. Her son said, "Mom, just wait outside. I'm gonna be there for 10 minutes." And she sat out there for the full 90 minutes waiting for him. So he went in with low expectations and stayed for the whole thing. So it must have been really good.
Good to hear.
And then just a question on the accreditation: how frequently do we need to get reaccredited?
It is every 10 years.
It's every 10.
So, but COVID threw things off, so that's why we're now pushed out. We were originally supposed to start it this fall, and then last spring when they presented the opportunity to push it back, with everything going on, I said, sure, we'll take advantage of that, and they accepted that, so.
Thank you.
Ms. Team, anybody? No, we're all good. The one thing I'd like to say about the high school is, because you brought up the block party, Thursday night, I was there to help set up, and I couldn't believe how many Tyngsborough High School students were there to set up. Sunday morning, I had to go back and do a couple things, and I think the entire football team was in town center taking everything down. And they tore that center down. It was beautiful by noon. Couldn't have done it without them. So it was great to see the participation of the kids. A lot of them had their jerseys on, or at least shirts that said, Tyngsborough Public Schools or the football team. So great job on everything. So thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Home applications.
Mr. Chair, every year we get a certain number of homeschool applications from family. I will say that the list that is provided for you, all those parents have met the expected requirements. So we can approve the list as printed.
Perfect. Finance, Mr. Messina.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So tonight, there were 9 bill warrants presented to the committee. I do have them back approved. As always, in your drive is the list of warrant numbers, accounts, and amounts. For signing of payroll, since the last time we reviewed payroll, there were 2 payrolls, August 14th and August 28th. Again, those dates, numbers, and amounts are in your drive, and that is it tonight for finance. Thank you.
Awesome. School committee discussion. We'll start with Barry.
I'd just like to wish everyone a great start of the school year.
I'd also like to welcome everybody back, staff and students. Good luck this year.
I'm good, thank you.
I'm all set. Thank you.
I just also want to welcome everybody back and wish everyone a great year.
Again, I just want to thank the senior sidekicks for the freshman orientation. Great event, glad they did it. Thank you to Mr. Ogden and Ms. Trainer for coming tonight. It's always good to hear directly from the schools. And welcome back to all the students and staff. Looking forward to a great year.
I'll echo the welcomes back. So welcome back, everybody. I loved the student update tonight from Bari. It was awesome to hear how everything's going in the schools. And I know getting the frontline reports from my kids and the neighbors' kids is always positive and encouraging at this time of year. So welcome back, everybody. Here's to a good year.
Yeah, thanks to our teachers. They really welcome the kids back. The rooms look great. The schools are up and running, and things are going pretty smoothly right now. So just thank you everyone for all your efforts.
Again, I'll echo everyone else's comments. Big thank you to Dominic Cimatelli and his group for all the work they did this summer to prepare these schools, and even working with the construction we got going outside. Facilities look great, and great job to them. At this time, we have no need for an executive session, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Any discussion? Anyone? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Thank you and have a good night.